Hello and welcome to The Chain, a series where one episode links to another by some means, whether that be the director, an actor, the composer, a word in the title. It could be anything, and as we have proved on our journey on the past 71 episodes, from Jerry Goldsmith's Rudy through to today, Apollo 13, we have covered just about everything. This week, as you can see, we're having a look at James Horner's Apollo 13. Last week we were looking at his score from Enemy at the Gates. So this week, in a way, we've got a double link, James Horner and actor Ed Harris. And in fact, we've got a double link next week as well. So it's a bumper fest for links at the moment. As always, please do come and say hello in the chat. I can see hello already. We have Joseph and Sharman. Nice to see you. And I'll try not to melt all over your screens. It's unusually hot here in the UK at the moment. Unfortunately, I've had to turn the AC off because it's just too noisy for the background of this, and I'm hoping that having the window open will save me from just dripping everywhere. But you might get a bit of background noise coming from outside, because most people are out in their gardens rather than be indoors right now. Anyhow, it's slightly unusual this week. Normally I prepare a template and we do some note entry for a couple of hours. This week we're actually going to look at a cue which I fully engraved. I put all the notes in at least over a year ago, maybe even 2 now, which is 5M1 Go for Launch. I think it's just called The Launch, excuse me, on the soundtrack, but Go for Launch on the manuscript. And yeah, so I've got all the notes in, and we actually also did a beat map against the original recording so that we could make the Sibelius file match exactly the timing. And what I did was actually try and sync that with the film. I stripped away as much of the music as I could from the audio, leaving in all the sound effects and dialogue. And then put the note performer back in to see how well it would stand up or not. And in fact it stands up incredibly well. If you want to have a look at it, it's on the now not updated for a long time blog on my website, chrissiddlemusic.com. I tend to do all my posting on Facebook and stuff these days, and it just takes so much time that I can't keep posting everywhere. But it's still there if you want to go back and see it, and I think it's well worth a look just to see how well it does stand up. Anyway, so what we're going to do is take that file, which you can see here, is in somewhat of a different house style from what I do these days. It shows basically all the staves as they appear in the manuscript, so we've got 3 separate staves for flute and so on. So what we're going to do now, also the paper size is very large, just randomly very large, and various other bits. So we're going to try and format this in a usual 9x12 study score format, and just take you through and see what you think. Maybe give away a few secrets. But first off, what I'm going to do is actually, I'm going to remove that because it's going to get lost off the bottom when I resize the paper. I'm going to import the format that I've set for Legends of the Fall, which I've been working on obviously quite a lot recently. It's done something weird with the title font. That's fine, so we can just change that to, let's put it on Trajan, I think, just for the moment. We'll probably change that. So, yeah, in fact, I didn't want the subtitle like that because I'm going to get rid of that fourscore too. Okay. Right, so we usually have a bit of stuff around here. I'm going to grab that off of Legends just to save some time. And plonk it on here. Donk. So, now do we do like the mission or the movie? I think the movie. It's not TriStar, it is, I can't remember. It's not Paramount, it's Universal. Sure, underprepared. Why have you gone to that movie? Yes, Universal, right. Of course it is. So, right, let's bring my chat back. Oh, we've got a few others. Hello, Lazar and Kyle. Nice to see you. Never a big fan of this school. Oh well. Right now it is concert, so that's fine, we'll leave that. That is probably too small, 5.2. Yeah, 8.3. Fine. So, yeah, here we go. What's my favourite James Horner on Howard collaboration? I don't know. Yeah, I think Willow maybe as well. So you can see all these tempo changes. That's what we did for matching up to the picture. So they're not necessarily tempos we want to show in the score. Notice that's too small as well, so we're going to bump that up to 12. It should be bold. Oh, what's going on there then? That's a bit weird. To say 88, I can't remember. So, right, there we go. So we're getting there just for beginner stuff. That's also not the right copyright message, so we'll get that right. I'm not going to play this through in full because it's actually over 10 minutes long, and YouTube has got a 10-minute fair usage clause where I can use stuff that's copyrighted up to 10 minutes long, uninterrupted. But this is just over that, and when I tried to upload the video back in the day when I did this, it got a copyright removal, so I can't actually play it through in full. I can stop it partway through and then restart it, that's fine. Pi 13 launch, copyright, there. Donk. So one of the things I do, which I think I just might have removed, we'll see. Oh, there we go, it's updated fine. So what you see, that's updated itself, and that's because I've used a wildcard. So if you actually, instead of, it says, do you want to go to the backstage to do it? And so, yes, you put it all in here. If I say no, you can see what I've actually put is a \$ copyright \. And you can use, there's lots of different wildcards, so I could put title, and it will put the title down there, subtitle, composer, lyricist, all sorts of things like that. Now this is not done the spacing that I want because I actually picked the wrong manuscript. I picked Q's, not first Q, which is the one that leaves space for copyright. So I'm going to do that. Okay, so what I tend to do is hide anything which is on a single staff normally, and not playing anything on that page. So let's bring up my chat again, so I've lost that. Here we go. Yeah, I'm a fan of the Mask of Zorro score as well. Land Before Time, obviously. It's a great score. I was actually having a look through Battle Beyond the Stars not too long ago. That was quite fun to read through with the recording session audio, because there's quite a lot missing off the soundtrack. And it's really interesting actually to hear the kernels of ideas that become Wrath of Khan and things like that. Right, I'm just having a couple of thoughts about stuff here. So noticing, obviously we've got horrible bunching and stuff here. We don't need to worry too much about it though, because it's going to spread out in a minute. I haven't got my braces down the side of my grand staffs, so grand staves. So I'm going to put those in. 3 keys. And then we're going to have a bit of a jig around here, I think. Now, do I want to do it page by page? So what I'm going to do now is use the auto breaks in the layout tab to set it to break every 8 bars regardless of whether it could fit more on the page. If it can't fit as many as 8, that's fine, it will break the page, it won't make it 8 and squidge everything in, but if it can reach 12 or something, it will put a break in at 8 bars. So that's usually where the phrase is for, so you get nice page turns then, and we can manually adjust as well, so that's fine. That just gives us a good starting point. Hi Donny. I don't know. Off the top of my head, I'm not sure whether James got nominated for Land Before Time. I would think probably not. Animation scores tend to get looked over for Academy Awards anyway. You might have got an Annie for it or something like that. Right, okay, what I'm going to do, I think, is just do a quick concatenation, not a good word, of flute 1 and 2 onto one staff. How many pages is it? Ooh, 43. Okay. Maybe we'll go page by page. It's just easier that way with such a long queue. So I'm going to move the tempos and this furniture down to the first staff that actually has music on it, which is the horns. Oh, I didn't need to move the tempos, that's all right. Then when I hide the woodwind, which are doing nothing, we still have that, because it's these two that get lost otherwise. Right, another thing that I do now is I put a space in my Adue, so we're going to have to do that. Now we can see, right, we've got horn in F. I don't actually put keys on anymore, so and also, yeah, we've got single instrument lines per line. So here you've got when you do multiple staves, you put an extra staff in, see horn 1 and 2, and it then has bracketed A, B, C. So now we've got one horn instrument line which is going to serve 3 staves. So I'm going to paste then everything from this instrument, because we know it's a single is it a single all the way through? Oh gosh, no, I'm going to do it page by page. It might split later on and I don't want to faff around, so I'm going to do it instrument by instrument, line by line. Here we go. Come here. Right, so now I'm going to respace that. Our horn text is going to stay in the middle, centered on the middle line. 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. So we've got one name now serving all of that. And later on, when I come to actually make the numbers perfectly lined up, centered on each stave, we actually do that with technique text and leave the system text horn there on its own. Because you can find, like here, if I start dragging staves, if for some reason you need asymmetrical spacing, you can't keep these numbers aligned with the stave. So then, as I say, I leave the system text bit, which always aligns to the middle staff if it's 3, or exactly in between 2 staves if it's 2, 4, whatever. And then use technique text, which is attached to each individual stave, so line those up. It's a bit of a faff, but it works quite nicely. And once you're used to the process, you can get through it pretty quickly. So again, here we've got trumpets. We want to split the first line with an extra below. But that's trumpet 1 and 2 is perfectly fine to put on one stave. So I'm going to hide that one for now, because it doesn't need to be on 2 staves. Because we've got this big squash, we've reduced the vertical height of the paper significantly. And we could go through and manually add these intervals. So we've got 1 and 2 together, or you can highlight, copy, note input, paste into voice, from 1 into 2, do that. And there you see it's put all the notes from that staff in there. But it's also copied the dynamics. So we've got dynamics duplicated. So I'll take those out. and the rests. Now if you want tails up, tails down, leave it like that. If you don't, highlight the whole thing, tell it it's voice 1, and there you go, job done. And then you just get rid of that and hide it. Oh, it's already getting hot in here. This is going to be fun. Right. Once I've got this first page set up with the extra staves, it's going to go a bit quicker. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tuba's on its own, that's fine. Now, percussion, I want to have one percussionist instrument serving 5 staves. 6 in fact, because we've got Gran Casa as kind of, what do you call it, displaced. We've got an orphan percussion line there, and that must be from how it is in the manuscript. Well, I've just copied it, so let's go here. So we're going to do a percussion 1. What I'm actually going to do is do 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 above. Like that. It's going to go, what are you doing? So we've got snare on 1, and there's actually 2, so we might as well just put snare, drum, 2. I use instrument change text, get rid of that, centralize that, move that up a notch. So we'll find out what the other percussion instruments are in a minute, but we know that Gran Casa's 1, so we're going to put that on the bottom. So always put snare at the top. Oops, yikes. I always put snare at the top, bass at the bottom. Let's try that again. Must have triple clicked. Gran Casa. Okay, so we can hide that and all the other percussion staves that have not got anything on. This is buying us space. Now I'm going to move that along a touch, and we'll mask that in a minute. Let's just finish off this page. We've got no choir, let's get rid of that. So why I don't just highlight everything and go hide is because things like these grand staves, it will hide one staff and not the other. So what I will usually do once I've got stuff into the format of having one instrument with maybe multiple staves, is I'll highlight all of everything down to the grand staffs and say hide anything that's not got any activity, and then I'll do these individually. So here we don't need that. That's interesting. This is quite fun. This is a kind of blast from the past for me, seeing how I used to do things. So here we've got triple F hidden, but you don't really need, as a separate element, you don't need to do that. So you put in a wavy line, a tilde. That's all one element. Tilde will tell it to hide anything after that. So it's marked forte, but we want that to really come through, so that's why that's done like that. Synth thumper, I just used electric bass. Octave shift down, did the trick. I'll play it to you in a minute and you'll see what I mean. So that's got 4 Fs on it. Really want that to come through. Strings, we want that to say in instrument text. All the dynamics on the grand staff to be centered in the stave if we can. And because I'm biased for being a string player, I tend to show all strings on every page, unless for some spacing reason, or it really doesn't make sense not to have them there. Sorry, then I get rid of them. Right, okay, so now we're going to move that down a bit. You should try and have your dynamics all on one plane, all on one level on the staff per page. So I always use the staff and object rulers, kind of live by the numbers. You can see these have shifted down because of the tie, but these haven't. So they're not on the same level. I can come down to that there, and now they're all nicely aligned. And I can see, my dynamic settings were obviously 1 notch higher than I use these days, so probably going to have to move everything down 1 notch on every page. That's fine. Right. Nothing clashing, that clashes there, so let's go down another step. That clashes, so let's go down a half step and a bit just to clear that nicely, and then we'll respace. Oh yeah, and we were going to mask that. I've use octave lines for the harps as well to save space. Maybe, but the octave line itself takes up space, so now that we've actually got most of the stuff hidden, it's not actually too onerous to have them in that octave. I think if it was going much lower than that, then yeah, definitely I'd be using octave lines, or if we were pushed for space. Another thing I spotted is timpani roll. I don't use trill lines on timp rolls, so let's do that. Hi Pete, hi Thomas, by the way. Nice to see you. Wow, I've missed loads of chat. What's going on here? Oh, I see your comment about Alan Menken. Yeah. Yeah, so we're going to mask that. Hopefully I haven't got anything dodgy on my desktop, because I use a graphic element on my desktop, which is just a white square, a 1x1 white square, which I can resize to however I like. If you weren't here for previous episode where I mentioned it, Sibelius actually works in a way like Photoshop or something like that, where it's actually building the stuff in layers. So you can actually set what level or what order of elements things are showing. So now we've got the white boxes behind everything. If you bring it forwards, you can either do that one level at a time, or you can bring it straight to the front and the back. So if we bring it to the front, it's now masked over the top of the text. We want it to show the text but hide the bar line. And I know the level we want that at is 12. That's very useful for doing things like masking slurs or gliss lines through time signatures and things like that. And then, yeah, I just resize it slightly so it's not too silly. Oops. So when we turn everything off, you see it's nicely masked through there, and you won't see a white square, you just literally see a space when you come to print. So that works quite nicely. Yeah, you can mask using the inspector on here, erase background, but then you have to mess around with the text box because, well, let's just show you why. You just don't have as much control over it. So let's do erase background. If that works perfectly, I'm going to be really annoyed, but you see it's got a different amount of space above and below. So for instance, if the C was aligned with the bar line, so you then have to actually set where you want the text frame or the alignment. Yeah, text frame align to center, and then you have to change how much height or width you want. So it's much of a muchness, but I just find you have a lot more control the way I do it, to actually have it as a separate element. I've got to go back now. Slurs can be set in magnetic layout. Yes, that's true, but I would rather not have a slur that kind of goes way around a time signature. They can pass through, you just need to mask it, and it actually looks quite elegant. Okay, we have different ways of working, that's fine. So aside from that, reasonably happy. Yep. Erase background. Yeah. Okay, so let's just move on and we'll try and whip through a few pages here. So I'm going to show my other horns. Just cut that. We're going to paste that into yeah. Okay, and get rid of that. MIDI keyboard. I've got too much software. Yeah, well, I don't really do much composing anymore. I find there's too many people who do it a lot better than I do, so I just stick to what I'm good at, or hopefully what I'm good at. There, okay. That should be yeah, that's fine. Trombone. Like that. Show my bottom stuff, which is that one. I only need the short name now, so GC. So here's a case where the upper staff would be hidden if I'd have selected everything and say hide, whereas I actually want to show the upper staff of the heart there. That's our thumper and our string synth. Excuse me. Come on. Try and centre that. Roughly. And don't need that. Okay. So optimize. Don't need two viola staffs either. Now, did I did not, I don't think. And we've got stems up and down in trombones there. That's fine. We did make trumpets all one voice though, so let's do that. Now, if you've got things which are moving all together, you can make them all one voice and that's fine. But if they're not, and you try and do that, then it will delete. Oops, didn't mean to do that. It will delete some of them. So just watch out for that. Writing pen and paper too. Yeah, I actually I'm having a bit of a office move or study, whatever, studio. It's not really a studio. Oh, it's an office. Moving my stuff at the moment, so I was having to clear out and came across some of my old handwritten manuscript, which is quite fun. But it's been a long time. 2005 was the last time I had something performed. So, that I wrote, anyway. I've had stuff that I've engraved performed. So I think I need one of those there too. Good. That looks a bit better. A bit better than this page, which is absolutely squidged. This might be a good opportunity though to show that thing of how to align the numbers in SIB, or how I align them anyway. I'm sure there are other workarounds, but there, I'm going to put a technique text in. I'm going to make it 8.8, which is the same size as this. I know that just because I do it so often. Move it over to the edge, and I'm going to use what's already there as a template. So that's perfectly in the center, 2 steps up. Going to leave those two perfectly centered on that staff. You just copy paste and fill those in like that, and then when you remove those, now got nicely aligned center horn there, and however we jigger those around, the numbers are always going to stay aligned with the staff, which is good. But I'm also going to bring back, so that's going to look a bit horrid for the moment, but I'm going to bring it back because I'm going to need it as a template for next page and pages after that. It's usually one of the last things I do because it looks horrible and you can clean it up very quickly right at the end. These are actually a bit lower than I would like. I normally have them at 1, I think. Yeah. So, just making sure that they're all aligned the same. See, that's at 1. You can do horizontal and vertical alignment shortcuts as well, but sometimes it's just easier just to copy and paste the element. See, that's at 1.5. I think I can filter for symbol. Pick them all up at once. Drop them there. So this one's missing one. Tuber obviously wants to break at the same point. Do you guys set dedicated textiles for numerals or maybe Jigger? How do you mean? What, for the? No, I'm just using the standard technique text, which is the same font as my instrument names. Right. So let's just go on and do a few more pages. In fact, I'll do this page so we get up to the double bar and then play through so you can hear how it sounds. Because we haven't actually played any music yet. Right, we've got bassoons coming in, and I want to add a staff. Hello. In fact, I'll do while we're there. In fact, there's no reason that can't be on same staff there. It's just playing in octaves, so up to there in octaves, and then to do that. No, don't want to delete. So horns, show those. Let's just get those on the field. That. Bit of a faff sorting out an old score, isn't it? Paste into voice. Boink. Just taking out those duplicate dynamics. Right. Those. Right, so we've got suspended symbol. I suspect we're going to have Piatti as well at some point. So I'm going to put a suspended symbol on my C percussion staff because I want Piatti above it. I'm going to show those two. Just going to make sure that it's definitely those two that I've got showing. I'm hiding it and then show C and G. Right. So that's going to be sim, which I use a diamond head. Change my text to instrument. Oops. Instrument change. Use the full name for the first appearance. And then get rid of all that. Now, one other thing that I've forgotten to do is actually put timps up above percussion. They should really be below tubas there, so I'll just move them. Move up. And hide those. Sparkly glass sound coming up. Thumper's still going good. And one thing I do like to do normally, if I've got a clef change at the end or somewhere along the stave, nothing going on beforehand, I'll put it at the beginning of the line. But in this case, what I'm quite likely to do, because that's a double bar and therefore going into a new phrase, is actually put a page break in there. So, like we were saying, we're not limited to having 8 bars on every page. If it makes musical sense to break it, then we can put that there, which I dare say it will. So in fact, I'll just send that over now. Right, so we don't need those two staves, they're gone. And now I'm just going to align things. I'm also always looking out for middle line notes, so D's or B's, flipping the tails where it makes sense to do so. Get that centered in the staves. So now there you can see we've got the clef changes at the end. I mean, if that's done nothing else previous, which it hasn't, we might as well just start it in bass clef from the very beginning. And take that out. I try to have all of my dynamics set to voice 5, voice all, unless I'm specifically setting different dynamics for the different voices within a line. Then later on, if another voice enters, it's going to enter at the same volume as what's been going on previously. Otherwise it'll just enter at the default forte or whatever it is. Just aligning these, making sure we got some clearance below the tie, just eyeballing it, just a nice amount. Yep, then we do the optimize. It should space things quite nicely. Pretty decent. And then the only thing left to do on that page really, aside from changing the name, and I always do bun, not person. So that's actually 1, 2, that's right. Yeah, and then we've just got our text, Dubreeze. So you can see why I use the system text as a template is, for instance, we might have, say, I don't know, an arpeggio on harp or something, one of these, and we need to respace that slightly. Once you start moving the bar lines around a bit, you find that it moves this a bit. Sometimes if you've got longer instrument names as well, it just plays with the margin, and then suddenly these don't align, so you can't just magically paste them all in and assume that they're all going to align perfectly. So that's why I leave the system text in there to use as a template, because that does align to the margin, whereas technique text doesn't. And if I ever find out a better way of doing that, then I'll be happy, but I don't find it too onerous now that I actually just do it so often. I can whiz through pretty quickly. Wow, I love it. Really active chat today, that's great. It must be Joseph's effect. The Joseph effect. Right, so we've just got flute 1 playing, so we'll not worry too much, hide those. We don't need to put a cue in. Don't know why. Maybe I've still got the manuscript up here, so why have I done that? That's 25. Oh right, oh that's a misinterpretation, that's funny. That should just be a cue. So we'll need to listen out. What I do there is I highlight it, put cue, then I listen to the audio and see if it actually was played. No oboe 2 playing. Clarinet 1 and 2 are the same staff, I think, shall we? Let's just do it this way. Wrong tab. Interesting. What's going on there? Aha. Right. So the best way of doing this is actually going to be to go 1, 2, 3 to those. Like that. Don't need that anymore. Drop that down a bit. And then, because we've got this, which is that. And that. Hide. So I was going to play some music, wasn't I? Let's do that. What a clutter. Sort all this out in a minute. Temp. So Graham Casa. Which is going to be that one. Oh no. New, come on. Oh, amusing. Sparkly glass sound. Let's do a nice line gliss, I think, for that, rather than a wiggly one. I'm just not much of a fan of the wiggly one these days. Music instruments. That's an interesting way of notating that. I'm going to have to look at the thumper in a minute, I think. Why have we got that on another staff? Why would I have done that? That seems very odd. Let's put that up there. Tide. I did this so long ago, it's like critiquing someone else's work. Don't remember the rationale I used for half of it. Why did you do that? So, thumper at bar 24 seems odd. Let's go too far. 25, 24 there. Why did I do that? Interesting. D octaves, octava bassa below, which it is, I guess. I just wanted to show that they're going to have that underneath all of this, but otherwise that's essentially still playing on the same. So might it not make more sense to grab all of this and put it on the upper staff? But then no, it's very low. It's, yeah, it's a fun one. No, I'll leave it like that for now. Right, let's have a listen to what we've got. Just up to that double bar line. So I want that to come out a bit more, so I'm going to put a tilde in there and F if not MF. So that can go up a bit. That's too close to. Just respace some of this. Again, trying to keep everything on the same plane. That looks slightly orphaned, but technically right. We'll see whether we adjust that. Right, what was I thinking? There was a thing. What was the thing? It was that sparkly sound should be a mark tree, really, I think. That, okay. Just to get clearance on that. What was it? Yes, that's what it was. It was div A3 in violins, quite common, especially for Horner. Kind of wrong the way I've put it in here, because what he's done on the manuscript at that point is he's treated the violins as one block and then divided that into three. So to do it this way is not really right, because it's then imbalanced. What you need to do, what one needs to do, is to actually then essentially double the bottom note, the middle note, sorry, so that it's in both lines, and then set an asymmetric divisi, violin 1, violin 2. So we've got, put it in there. Let's just go to the manuscript a second. I can tell you how many we had. 30 violins. So that would have been, let's put that in at the beginning. That would have been 16, 14, there are 14 violas, 12 celli, and 8 basses. I think I'm missing a space there. Right, 30. Okay, so 10 per voice. So what we actually want is just div, because div_3 is not really right. And then we want 10, and we've got 6 left over, we've got 16 firsts. Um, 4 and 10. Yeah. So now we've actually got div_3, but we've kept our violins as violin 1 and 2. Great, and minimize that so I can see the text. James loved his keyboards, yeah. I could actually play a bit of this. It's quite interesting how well it does stand up with the picture. I'll show you in a minute a bit of the video where I did sync it to picture and remove the audio, or remove as much of the music as I could. Music's usually mixed to the centre channel, so it's quite easy to strip most of it. So here we've only got trumpet 1 playing, and you don't really need number 2 in the nomenclature, so the naming. So what I do is just do an instrument change. Put that in. Rather than having 1 and 2 and then say it's only 1 playing, it's kind of redundant. So do that. Same here, I think we've got just 1 bassoon. That was silly. That's a cue again. So we want to see if that's actually playing against the audio. I'll check it later. Don't need any of that. Don't need that. Getting into a bit of a wide spacing issue here. You might want to either, well, you might have enough, or not that you might have enough, but you might be able to condense it to the point where you can get 2 systems on 1 page. But if not, if it's a bit wide, then you might actually want to start bringing in some of those redundant staves again, just so it isn't too widely spaced. What? Lazar, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised about Avatar 2. Simon Franklin did a score recently about the fire at Notre Dame in Paris, and was definitely channeling James when he scored that. I think he's going to produce something that sounds very Horner-esque for Avatar. Of course, they worked together on that. It also helped finish Magnificent Seven, I think. So, yeah, I think that'd be fine. What would I have liked to have seen Horner do, though? I don't know. I mean, it would have been interesting to see if he had done an MCU score or something like that. Right. Sure. So this is really a bit of a tidying session now. I hope you're having fun. I'm glad that everyone's having a nice chat. To keep things lively. I'm not going to bother doing this text bit here right now. This is one of those pages that's definitely a candidate for bringing Staves back in, I think. There's too much going on for it to shrink to half a page, unless this has really got nothing going on. But you can see here it widens out again, so it's not likely that's going to fit underneath. I think what I might do is just play a bit of the video that I made back in the day and see if I can get away without a copyright strike. Oops. Let's do remove that. And hopefully this will balance okay. So this is all Note Performer.
What? Don't. Oh, sorry.
I'm gonna give these guys a beautiful ride.
Sure you will, Jack. You need more air?
You want some apple?
Marilyn, hey, Mary. Oh, I hate this already.
So you can see
You're not just about to
Or here.
pop, are you?
No, I got 30 days.
Note Performer is working really well. And I'm sorry I'm talking over it. I'm doing that because hopefully it will disrupt YouTube's algorithm and it won't recognise this.
For Gene.
Mrs. Krantz has pulled out the old needle and thread again.
Last one looked like you bought it off a gypsy.
Well, you can't argue with tradition.
Copy that.
This is from your wife, Chief.
Thank you, Tom. Starting to get worried.
I like that one, Chief. Shot, Chief.
I agree, Curtis. I think the fact that this sounds pretty decent. You know, imagine you're doing this for a student film or something. You can't afford a full orchestra. Where's my vest? You're lucky I've got a t-shirt on. It's very hot in here.
Apollo 13 flight controllers, listen up. Give me a go, no-go for launch. Booster.
Go.
Retro. Go. Vital.
We're go flight.
Guidance.
Guidance go.
Surgeon.
Go flight.
Ecom.
We're go flight.
GNC.
We're go.
Telmuse.
Go.
Control.
Go flight.
Procedures.
Go.
Inco.
Go.
FAO.
We are go.
Network.
Go.
Recovery.
Go.
Capcom.
We're go flight.
Launch control, this is Houston. We are go for launch.
Roger that,
They nicked my background.
Pad leader, what's your status?
We are go for launch. T-minus
I'm going to
60 seconds.
pause it in
Counting.
a second. I'm going to pause it there. Just so that it breaks up that queue a bit and it's not 10 minutes unbroken, because YouTube will pick up on it. It will go, ah, I know what that is. No, it is proper samples, but it does uses AI to select the different samples by reading ahead. It actually inserts a 1 second delay when you press play, so it's always reading 1 second ahead, and it's looking out for trigger words and things like pizzicato and other markings, dynamics and things like that. And yeah, it selects the correct instrument sound based on that. Sue them! No. While I'm stopped for a second, I guess I'll talk about what's coming up. I've had a few people ask about Legends of the Fall. It was about, I would say, about a month behind where I wanted to be. One thing and another going on here that just put me a bit behind. But we've been really making good progress in the last couple of weeks, and I think hopefully I'll have all of the editing done by the end of next week, maybe overrunning slightly there. But I've got the forward coming, all of the analysis is done, so yeah, just last 4 reels to finish polishing, and then it'll be good to go. So hopefully it'll be available to order at the end of the month, and then it usually takes about 2 weeks to print, so it'll be shipping second week of August if all is on target. What else? The Chain next week, and we've got a double link again. We're going to link via Tom Hanks and Gary Sinise, and we're in a bit of a James Horner, Alan Silvestri kick at the moment, but I really wanted to have a look at Forrest Gump. So, you know, it's my channel, so that's what we're going to do. But as you may know from recent episodes, we've used patrons' picks from my Patreon as targets for The Chain, and our next target is actually Alan Menken's The Little Mermaid. And so from here, Apollo 13, we are making our way in not very many steps to The Little Mermaid, but after next week we'll be well off the Silvestri Horner cycle. We'll be jumping to some John Williams, in fact double John Williams 2 weeks in a row, and then straight into the Menken, so it's going to be fun. Yeah, Forrest Gump's going to be fun. I've done Land Before Time on The Chain before. I will certainly look at finishing the queue that I did, which was Whispering Winds. It's also certainly a score that I'd be interested in publishing in future. But, you know, we can't do everything all at once, like the movie title, everything all together all at once. So yeah, we have to kind of queue things up, pick and choose, and then obviously the other players in the game pick up certain scores as well. So we'll certainly keep you going with scores. I'm really looking forward to getting Legends of the Fall finished, at least to finish the project, of course, but also to move on to the next thing, which is going to be Jerry Goldsmith's Alien, which is very exciting. I've got all the manuscript for it, and yeah, it's going to be brilliant. So that later in the year. I was originally targeting sort of end of September, beginning of October, but seeing as we've slipped a little with Legends of the Fall, we'll have to see how that goes. It's most likely going to be an October release. And then, again, you know, best laid plans sort of thing, but my ideal plan was to release Gremlins in time for Christmas. But that will be coming next after Alien, and after that you'll have to wait and see. But we've certainly got lots of irons in the fire, and it's going to be quite exciting. Where do I find the manuscripts? Mostly from the studios, occasionally from other archives, but yeah. Yeah, it's going to be good. So, yeah, let's polish some more pages and see where we can get to, and then I can play a bit more of the video. I was seeing another potential page break point there, so I'm just going to play what we've got here. Let's just no, that's fine. We could potentially break it there. But yeah, well, let's see what that does to the pagination. This is one of the things, you know, you have to figure out where you're going to put page breaks and things, because it can affect the layout quite drastically. So now I've bumped that over the page, I mean, potentially we'll be able to No, well, let's see what happens here a second. I'm going to hide all of that that's empty. That and that. Yeah, so see, that hasn't managed to shrink down. Ah, yes, Hook is one of my favourite scores. I have most of the manuscript for that, but not complete.
Sorry, I don't know that one.
Shh. Who asked you? Commando. I won't say that was a bad score. Right, just a second. I need to step away for a sec. Sorry, I've been drinking a lot because of the heat. That's enough on information on that. But I'll get the video playing again while I'm away.
Think so, stand by.
Fuel pumps. This is it. A few bumps and we're hauling the mail.
We are go for launch. T-minus
15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Ignition sequence start. 3, 2, 1. Ignition.
The clock is running!
We have liftoff.
Okay, guys, we got it.
Now remember that this is all note format.
Come on,
altitude is on the line. Velocity right on the line.
Roll complete, we are pitching!
13, stand by for mode 1, Bravo.
Fido, how we looking?
Looks good, flight, right down the middle.
We see your BPC is clear 13.
Roger, EDS to manual. Inboard. Get ready for a little choke, fellas.
That was some little joke.
the other 4?
Roger that, 13. We show the same.
Booster, can you confirm that center engine cut off?
Roger that, flight. Looks like we lost it.
Fido, what's that gonna do to her?
Stand by, flight.
I need to know if the IU's correct me for the number 5 shutdown.
Alright, pausing again. I don't want to get that copyright strike. Yeah, so works incredibly well, really. Better than it should have any right to at the price that Note Performer is, and this is not a sponsored video. Although, Wallander Instruments, if you'd like to sponsor this video, please do reach out to me. So, I'm not above shilling for... No, it's fine. Sorry. It's my sense of humour. Was that already a 2? No, so it definitely was 1. So here we're going to want to do an instrument change. No, so we do have those staves going now. We want that. That's fine. Oops. You see, this is all going to help us with the vertical spacing. Putting these onto one stave. Bassoons, minor, obtuse there, fifth. Oops. I'm picking up the horns there. Get out of the way. Okay. Show me to don't need 2 of those, do need 2 of those. Like that, there. 2. Ah. Like that. I'm getting there. Right, what have we got here? We've got suspended symbol and nothing on Grand Casa now, so just suspended symbol. Show C is what I've got my suspended symbol on. I want diamond head. Hide all those. Hide that one. Hide those two. Now we're better spaced. That we want in the middle. Eyeballing it. That we need a susp sim over it. I think we actually had one back here that I didn't change to a diamond head, so where was that? Grand Casa? Oh, I did. Okay, that's fine then. Yeah, don't worry, we'll find the dodgy brass note later. When we do the editing pass like this and go through and we actually listen to each section on its own, so that you're not trying to pick out against too much density of orchestration. It's a lot easier to hear where you've got some duff notes. So there you go, there's a good case where we can flip the stem rather than having mixed stems. So looking out for, because the middle note of the staff can go either way. And you're looking for what's around it to give you some guidance as to which way it should go. Yeah, that looks a bit better. Remember that tangled mess that this page was not too long ago? Much like this one, really. Let's go up to page 7 there then and see if we can spot if we've got a duff note in that first section. Did hear something, I think. Hang on, before we go any further. Optimize. Yeah. It's just that spacing of the text there. Right, let's try again. Just a sec. Let's zero in on the brass here. I think there was potentially something here. It's just some of the chorusing that sounded a bit weird. Okay. This is actually quite funny. So I spotted while that was playing that this was tails down, and therefore the slur should be above, but obviously being a B, we can just flip it. But it reminded me of a thought I had the other day. Those of you who are Patreon patrons will know I post weekly, or usually try to post weekly, behind the scenes looks at the book that I'm working on. So in this case obviously Legends of the Fall at the moment, or even when I'm posting the videos for completed queues every week, what I do is I export the score to PDF, open the PDF full screen, and then I actually manually turn the pages along with the audio. So always when I'm recording those, I spot things. Yeah, it's like, right, let's press record, go through. Ah, look, that needs changing. Dang it. Go back, change it. Start again. Press record, play through. Ah, no, there's another thing. So I, always just watch stuff back, play back your audio, listen out for bum notes, look for dodgy clashes and things, and don't, don't just go, oh, I can't be bothered, I'm done with it now. Do fix the things, and every little thing brings it closer to perfection. So it is worth fixing everything up, and it's almost inevitable you'll miss things, but my video is Ope, your video is really choppy, Cruz. Oh dear. Well, let's see. It might not be my end. Is that the same for everyone? Ooh, no, it's not me. I've got full speed ahead, warp speed. Anyone else getting it all choppy? An artist is never done. Very true. But also, do set yourself deadlines, and otherwise you'll procrastinate and titivate. You're just tweaking forevermore. You do have to draw the line somewhere, but don't draw the line at the easiest, the sort of lazy gate place. Sorry, choppy AF. Oh, sorry about that. Hopefully it will correct itself in a minute. There doesn't seem to be anything my end. Maybe it's YouTube has ludicrous speed. Yes. Good one. I'm glad you're back, Joseph. Right, well, I mean, there's not an awful lot more I'm going to do with a 45-page queue in the next 5 minutes. So let's just finish off the video, I think. You know, get to the end of the queue. Hopefully YouTube won't have freaked out. Is it still? It says error. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Well, let's give it a load of video and see what happens. Hopefully this is not going to be horrible for you.
Houston, what's the story on engine 5?
Looks good. We're still go. We'll be all right as long as we don't lose another one.
Roger that.
13, we're not sure why the inboard was out early, but the other engines are a go, so we're just going to burn those remaining engines for a little bit longer.
Roger that. Our gimbals are good. Our trim is good. Looks like we just had our glitch for this mission.
Now you've jinxed it.
Roger that.
Empty shutdown. Reignition. First looks good, flight.
Flight S will be cut up in 10 seconds.
13, this is Houston. Predicted cutoff is 12 plus 3-4. Over.
Coming up on 12 minutes 34. And
Seiko!
shut down. And that, gentlemen, is how we do that.
How is it worse? Oh, damn it. Now, okay, let me yeah, I mean, potentially I could do, hopefully you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me clearly enough. Maybe it's just the image that's jerking around. I could potentially do a couple of short cues. I did that, I think, on Interview with a Vampire. So, yeah, that's an option as well. But yeah, basically the whole score is available to choose from. In fact, it's quite interesting. There are what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cues which are not on the soundtrack album, even the dedicated score album. And also there are some different different original titles on the manuscript versus what ended up in the on the cue sheet, because there's a revised cue sheet, and also on the soundtrack track list. Let me bring up the track list actually, because I can't remember. Where have I got that? Why is my video so jerky? I don't know what's going on. I was thinking I could interrupt my internet quickly, but score soundtrack, don't play, just, oh yeah, so there you go. So I mean, even like the second one, You're No Different, was You're the Same. You Can't Sit Here was School Bus. They're the same. They're Sending Me to Vietnam was I Love You. And you often find this in scores, that cue titles change over time, and they put in revised cue sheets, or even sometimes just effectively a map that says old list, new list. Apollo 13, you know, it's got a bunch of cues which the titles differ versus the soundtrack. So yeah, that's fun. But it'd be interesting to see if you guys can come up with the same links that I've got planned. I guess I've already tipped my hand slightly by saying who the composer is in my links coming up. But to get from Forrest Gump to The Little Mermaid in, well, there's 2 steps in between, is what I've found. I think it's going to be good, because we're going to get a flavour of some quite different scores. So we've had, what have we had recently? We go all around the houses. It's one of the things I enjoy so much about this series, is that we get to explore all sorts of different things, and you know, because I'm in charge, I get to choose things that I enjoy mostly. I don't think I've done anything yet where I've done it simply because it's a necessary step, or I've done something where you know, it's by popular demand, but it's not something I particularly wanted to do. Yeah, so last few we've done Enemy at the Gates, The Abyss, Nixon, Lion in Winter. I mean, that's a real different score. And then going all the way back to 1933 with King Kong. So yeah, we really do cover the gamut here, and it's good fun. I hope you have fun too. This was a bit of an unusual one, doing mostly layout rather than note entry, so I hope that's something that was enjoyable. If not, I won't do it again. Let me know. Thanks again for joining. Hopefully I'll see you again soon, and I'm going to play you out with a bit of music. So thanks, and have a good week. Ta-ta.